someone who is thicker, more bigoted, more dangerous than all of those people that we've bet the house on before and let them have a go. And that's absolutely extraordinary. A large part of it, of course, claiming that somehow all the mess that the country faces at the moment is nothing to do with me, God. I was just in government. I was just in power. I was just cheerleading for Boris Johnson or Liz Truss or Brexit or austerity. And they're still there. What make the country wake up? Listen to this, Dave. Thank you. James, do you ever pause and remember that your left-wing views are in the minority? It doesn't matter how loud you shout. That's what we're talking about. That's David listening to this radio program. Voted for Brexit, voted for Boris Johnson. Leave Nigel Farage when he sees his trust for genius. Wants to vote for Nigel Farage, wants Nigel in our history. And he still thinks that he's not somehow responsible for the mess that the country's in. By voting for liars, by voting for idiots, by voting for racists. So what are we going to do next? Where is the country now? What we need is an even bigger liar, an even bigger idiot, an even bigger racist. And then everything will be over. Two questions for you today. I could carry on. I suspect it will be. Why? Why does it happen? You can't dispute the analysis. Well, you can, of course you can, but I think it would be very hard to dispute the analysis. You'd be looking at Johnson, Truss and Brexit and thinking marriage is the answer, then you're saying we need a bigger idiot, a bigger liar, a bigger racist. And then everything will be okay. That's psychological, political growth. You back a racist, you back a liar, you back an idiot, everything goes south, everything goes wrong. You think what we need now is a bigger racist, a bigger liar, a bigger idiot. And then the question is, how does it stop? What breaks this spell that enough of the country is on to lead us out of the single market, to lead us into a country where Boris Johnson can be Prime Minister, to lead us into the mess and the Liz Truss? What breaks the spell? It's a question I can't answer. If I could, I would have accepted the pleas of my publisher and signed up to write another book. I don't know what breaks this spell. What breaks this spell? 03456060973 is the number you need. So why do people keep doing it despite the evidence that it makes everything worse? Except very briefly in the general election of last year. And why or how does it end? How do we break the spell? 03456060973 is the number that you need. And this is not necessarily what we're up against, but you know, David in Brentwood isn't on his own in Idiot's Corner today. This is part of the problem I'm trying to solve. So here's another text. This one's unsigned. I'm so looking forward to hearing you when Nigel gets in. You and the Lefty Brigade are finished. What will you win? What will you win with someone who thinks Liz Truss is an economic genius? With someone who told you that Brexit was going to make you richer and get rid of all those foreigners that you... What is it you're going to win, mate? It doesn't, I mean, make any sense at all to look at what you've won. You've won everything for 10 years, except the general election that Keir Starmer won. And you want more of the same. The Lefty Brigade. Who brainwashed you? Who hurt you? It's insane, right? Just those three things. Johnson, Truss, Brexit. How did they work out for you, lads? So what are you going to do now? Oh, I'm going to go for the bloke who really, really loves all three of those things. It makes no sense. But my challenge to you, at 25 minutes past 10 this morning, make it make sense. Go on, make it make sense. And then you can tell me how we break the spell. It is 25 minutes after 10. You are listening to James O'Brien on LBC. The number you need is 03456060973. And remember, we love talking about it, but we absolutely hate living it.
LBC.
This is what award-winning customer service sounds like from real Octopus Energy calls.
People are friendly on the telephone. You can always get a problem solved. You stepped it up, I think, for an energy company, so well done.
Our customer service is really good.
People like yourself and all of your colleagues have done such a wonderful job.
Your customer service was tip-top. You know, I couldn't fault it.
Octopus Energy. Great value and outstanding customer service. Recommended by Which? 8 years running.
With Middle Plus, you can hit your January health goals with 20% off all grapes
rates and up to 20% off selected gut health products, including your favourite brands like Actimel and Activia. Open the Lidl Plus app to start saving. Lidl, more to value. Limited offer while stocks last. Lidl Plus T's and C's apply. 18 plus GB only. Offer ends 28th the 1st. Calcium contributes to the normal function of digestive enzymes.
Sunlight's guaranteed over 50 plan gave confidence to Jane and Chris. With their insurance sorted, they're becoming naturists, cutting loose in their birthday suits, feeling elegant and free. But when they answered the door, the postman saw more than he expected to see. Sunlight, a little confidence goes a long way. Affordable cover with a cash payout. Search Sunlight cover today.
Premiums paid couldn't exceed the payout. Full cover after 1 year. Ages 49 to 85.
Octopus Energy. Great value and outstanding customer service. Recommended by which? 8 years running. Octopus Energy.
This is LBC. Message James O'Brien on WhatsApp now on 0345 60 60 973.
26 minutes after 10. Chris in Bedford, just hold your horses. It turns out I've got a little bit more I want to say because the people that we're talking about don't ring me anymore. That's a shame, but they still occasionally text me. So here is the character who wrote, I am so looking forward to hearing you when Nigel gets in. You and the Lefty Brigade are finished. Why do people like that keep thinking that if they go for someone more dishonest, more racist, more ignorant, then things will get better than they did the last time they went for an idiot or for a racist or for a liar? And I've pressed the history button because I thought it would be interesting. This is the same person. Any excuse to bash the Tories, this is from a week or so ago. Boris done the best he could at the time. Do you really think Starmer would have done better? So you've got a Boris Johnson fan who now can't wait for Nigel Farage to be Prime Minister. This is from November of last year. So are you saying that everyone voting for reform is racist? Surely nearly the whole of the country that are behind reform cannot all be racist, can we? Nigel Farage is not racist, he's just standing up for real Britons. Same texter, same person. It's not racist to hang the Union Jack. We are patriots. If the foreigners don't like it, we could do something about it maybe. But remember, not a racist, same bloke. God, I couldn't be married to that woman. This I can actually remember is when we took a call from a woman whose husband has gone down this particular rabbit hole and it's breaking her heart. She needs to wake up, writes the man who's definitely not racist, who loved Boris Johnson and wants Nigel Farage to be Prime Minister because all his other decisions and votes have gone so well. Here it is. Her husband is obviously worried about blacks and foreigners. So you literally write to me to complain about being called a racist from the same account in which you're complaining about blacks and foreigners. I mean, the fact your vote is worth the same as mine is a reminder of why democracy is often described as the least bad available option. You know, these are the people who won in 2016, who won in 2019, who wanted Liz Truss to be Prime Minister. And now I don't get it. I told you I was going to take us all the way up to the half-past news. Poor old Chris in Bradford, his biscuit's probably gone soggy. He's been dunking his teeth. That's the question, all right? Why do people keep doing it? And I'm going to say we, because it makes it more generous. Why do we keep doing it? The email moves effortlessly from telling you that this person is a messiah to telling you that they're absolutely ridiculous. No one should have ever listened to them in the first place. And here's the new messiah for you. Britain is broken, as Robert Jenrick said yesterday. But the people who broke it are trying to blame it on anybody but themselves. And the voters, like our texters here, are going to let them. And I just want to understand why. And what would break that spell. Here's Dominic Ellis with your headlines.
The new Shadow Justice Secretary says the Conservatives will move on from Robert Jenrick after his defection to Reform UK. Nick Timothy, who took over Mr Jenrick's Justice Brief, insists that the Tories are more united than ever under Kemi Badenoch's leadership. Vulnerable women are being exploited by unregulated sperm donors on social media. Discovered that some are being coerced into handing over thousands of pounds. Says it has restored supplies to most homes across Kent and Sussex. 1,000 properties were affected at the height of the problems since Storm Goretti. LBC weather cloudy but dry for most today. Some showers in the north and in the west. A high of 10 degrees.
This is LBC.
Hiya, Kenny the hamster here, proud pet of Doug and Carol. Hey up, looks like my mum Carol's off out with the girls again. I tell you, since you took that quick NHS Healthy Choices quiz, she's drinking less, but going out more. And to think, she thought being healthy would mean being boring. You might want to give it a go yourself.
Go, girlfriend!
Take your first little step to healthy. Search NHS Healthy Choices quiz to get a score and a simple plan to follow.
Experience. It's knowing when something is worth waiting for and when it isn't. That's why Saga Health Insurance offers unlimited GP appointments whenever you need them. With a choice of flexible plans, prompt tests and treatment, your health is taken care of. And right now, get 3 months free. Search Saga Health Insurance for a quote today. New customers starting a policy before the 19th of February pay by monthly direct debit for the first year. Terms and conditions apply. Over 50s only.
To be or not to be?
Right now, we're offering a range of incentives across Audi models.
That is the...
But only until the 28th of February. So stop whatever you're doing and find yours online or at your local Audi centre. Audi, Porsche Technik. Terms and conditions apply. Selected models, retail customers and participating Audi centres only.
With over 50 years experience at Fidelity, we believe there's a difference between investing and being invested. Investing is having access to guidance, tools and expert insights. Being invested means feeling confident about your future. Investing is choosing from a wealth of investment options. Being invested means focusing on your long-term goals. For ISAs, pensions or advice, be truly invested with Fidelity. Go to fidelity.co.uk. Your capital is at risk. Terms apply.
James O'Brien. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
It is 32 minutes after 10. We've got the mayor in at 11 o'clock. Unfortunately, in a way, because I have a feeling we could carry on this conversation for the best part of 3 hours. Of course, when I say conversation, I use the word very, very loosely, given that nobody else has got a word in edgeways yet, which is an indication, and I know you forgive me for this, some of you even enjoy it, you certainly indulge me, of what's at stake. It's mad, it's absolutely bonkers. Something happened when Jenrick started describing Britain as being broken and how the Conservatives broke it. Something happened in that, as the bloke who wrote the book, How They Broke Britain, I don't think I saw clearly the point at which all the arsonists start complaining about the fire and blaming it on, well, who? Their colleagues, but definitely not themselves. Why do people keep doing this, and how do we... What would you like to say?
Hi James, thanks for taking my call.
Eventually, you can add an eventually there if you want to.
I haven't spoken to you before, but I don't want to interrupt you.
Go on.
I think you're right, but not quite right when you say that there's a spell. I think it's more of a coma, James.
Yeah, maybe.
I think we are politically, when you look at the amount of people in this country who actually vote, it isn't a representation of the whole country. Therefore, that must tell us something. Are we just fatigued by the politicians who over the last 30 years where this country hasn't made any money at all, which is terrible, if there was a business it would have closed down, to politicians that are now looking after their own interest and the interest of others. Gone are the days when we had politicians who looked after this country.
I disagree with you. I genuinely disagree with you. He is not someone that it's easy to muster up an awful lot of enthusiasm for at the moment, but Keir Starmer is not motivated by venal greed or self-interest. He's not there out of ego. There are many members of the cabinet who have come up through politics via the trade union movement and via traditional means through which you try and improve the lot of the ordinary working person. Whether they're any good at it or not, it's moot. But it's not. This paint them all with the same brush actually plays directly into Farage's hands. It's just not true.
I respect your point of view, but I have to say that I think that when you see the herd moving from Tories to Reform, you have to wonder where the leader of the herd is hiding in the bushes because they're trying to find him. No, I'm not saying for one moment Boris Johnson will back to Reform, but, we've landed on the moon, and who would have thought that was possible? So who knows what's actually afoot? I'm not sure.
But let me push you to the precise question, which nobody can argue with. In fact, having the history bar on my text is brilliant, because you might think, oh, he's exaggerating, or it's ridiculous to suggest that everybody who loves Nigel Farage also loves Boris Johnson. But it's true. It's clear there's 7 members of Boris Johnson's government across the reform, and people think they're voting for a reform in completely innocent civilians in the face. Importantly, perhaps in the leg. They're chucking tear gas through the windows, half containing children. You have in Minneapolis, you may have some, but you still have people in this country doing the time. Is there nothing that Hitler could do? You know, is there nothing? Oh dear, Trump derangement syndrome. Do these people have eyes? Do they have ears? Can they see? And now the UK is embarked upon a similar or a comparable path. I don't understand why, but even more importantly and urgently and patriotically, I don't know how you break the spell. Michael's in Chesterfield. Michael, what would you like to say?
Hello there. Yeah, they're both time calling. Never called before, so thank you very much. Thank you very much. There's two ways I see it, and I think a little bit is that breaking the spell is kind of falling into the same trap.
I'm going to have to get your phone line improved, and we will, because we're here until at least 11. We may return to this subject after Sadiq Khan has taken all your calls, which of course he can do. You can get your question to him in all the usual ways. Let's go to Chris, who's in Bedford. Chris, what would you like to say?
Well, getting a word in edgeways for a start. There's two things here. Number one, you know too much. You are so well informed because it's what you do. And for heaven's sake, do not encourage us getting Farage into Downing Street. Running a business, I need this business to still be alive in 2 years' time. So don't encourage him.
I'm not encouraging. You know I'm not encouraging him. I'm just pointing out.
I don't know.
The questions that I'm asking hinge upon the fact that people have been given 3 massive wins, Brexit, Johnson, Truss. They've all turned to dust in their hands. Maybe they need to win the next big thing as well before they'll realise that the whole project is a con. A disaster, a mess.
Yeah. Word in edgeways again.
Don't be cheeky or I'll cut you off.
Thank you. You have the power.
I do.
Yeah, the thing is, the reason this is happening, I think, is there's a very narrow perspective for most of the people making most of the noise. They don't get the full spectrum of opinion. They don't have the facts. They don't understand most of it. All they see is this vague promise. And you could almost take it back to empire. And we won the war and all this jingoistic nonsense. And people of, how can I put it, limited intellectual capacity will latch onto this stuff. Hitler did it the same way. I mean, I know people say that, but it's true. My mother lived through that. And you know, it's hard to fight, but on the other hand, the people in the middle who will go and vote at the next election are not the people making the noise at either end of the spectrum. And I just hope that Keir Starmer, who's as dull as ditch water, in the same way that John Major was, but they give you stability. And eventually, if they can just keep going, and I am as disappointed with Labour up to now as most of us have been, but they're doing the hard stuff now. They can be popular in 2 years' time. That's people shouting for an election now. They're not going to get it. 2029. As long as Starmer has put enough good stuff in place, he could win it again. And I hope he does, because I am socialist. I can't deny that. But it's just basic humanity. And Nigel Farage and all these people who are defecting to reform from the Conservatives, that helps Labour, because it makes reform look just more and more like what didn't before. But, we shall see. But don't be too pessimistic.
No, you're right. I mean, I think I'm not that pessimistic, but a boost of hope from the likes of you is always welcome. I think it was more angry today that the likes of Generic have the absolute effrontery, the sheer barefaced effrontery to complain about the consequences of arson when they were filling up the petrol cans.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter, does it? Because if people have forgotten what he said 10 minutes ago, his attention span is very, very short. All he needs to do is get across what he's saying now, when people go, yeah, we'll do that. And this is what we have to fight. And I'm probably better off talking to your slightly more right-wing presenters on LBC, because you and I are in a room talking to each other whilst we're on birds.
They're part of the problem.
Well, we know that. We know that.
I mean this, and I mean it affectionately, but how could anybody have told you that Brexit was a good idea, or that Boris Johnson was a stand-up bloke, or that Liz Truss's budget was going to be good, and still get, by you, filed under people who are susceptible to reason or capable of admitting that they were wrong. They're too busy cheerleading for Donald Trump now and Nigel Farage to recognise that the last 3 victories they've won have been epic lawsuits.
Yeah, one little, if I might be allowed, one little point on Donald Trump. No, not at all. No. this thing where he's just been awarded the Peace Prize medal, yeah? I mean,
not exactly. He's just been given it by someone else.
No, I think she's mocking him in the most public way possible. And he, being a complete moron, is stupid enough to fall for it.
No, she's not, sadly. She honestly, I mean, it can look like that, but she is appealing to his ego in a real sense. She will know simultaneously that he is ridiculous and this is pathetic. But she is not mocking him, she is wooing him. It looks like mockery, but it is not an act of mockery because she wants something from him and therefore she is buttering him up. But on that subject, Chris, while I have you, would you like to have a Celebrity Mastermind winner trophy on your mantelpiece next time your friends come round?
Oh no, I've just got an award from Which magazine.
What for?
I've got that being in the top 10 travel agents in the whole of the UK.
This is sensational. Congratulations.
And here's another thing, the Daily Mail, and the Mail on Sunday, ran it as well, so I can no longer criticise them because they're helping me.
Now, if we swap awards, if I give you my Celebrity Mastermind trophy, or indeed my Broadcaster of the Year trophy, and you give me your top 10 travel agents, do I then become one of the top 10 travel agents in the world? Because this is what Donald Trump seems to believe with his Peace Prize.
Well, yeah, probably.
This is lovely then. Nice career change for me in the 3rd act of my life. Chris, stay safe. And congratulations, seriously. What's the name of your travel agent?
Oh, it's funnily enough, Bailey's Travel. We'll do a swap. I'll do your show, you do my show.
You promise you won't do long monologues, because everybody hates them. Get more callers on. It's 10:49.
This is LBC. To be or not to be.
Right now, we're offering a range of incentives across Audi models.
That is
But only until the 28th of February. So stop whatever you're doing.
I'll be right back. Just carry on without me.
And find yours online or at your local Audi centre. Audi, Vorsprung der Technik. Terms and conditions apply. Selected models, retail customers and participating Audi centres only.
With over 50 years experience, at Fidelity, we believe there's a difference between investing and being invested. Investing is having access to guidance, tools and expert insights. Being invested means feeling confident about your future. Investing is choosing from a wealth of investment options. Being invested means focusing on your long-term goals. For ISAs, pensions or advice, be truly invested with Fidelity. Go to fidelity.co.uk. Your capital is at risk. Terms apply.
A Thameslink train is a place where you could wind down and catch up. A chance to let conversations flow and plans unfold. And swap doom-scrolling for telling stories. Too good for the group chat. Make the journey part of the joy and say...
On the street, he always walks.
Which means we can...
A chill of political tension swept across the Oval Office as US President Donald Trump leveled a startling claim. The stalled peace process in Ukraine, not Moscow's aggression, lies with Kyiv. Speaking to Reuters, Trump asserted that Russian President Vladimir Putin is prepared to end his nearly 4-year military campaign in Ukraine, while Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky remains hesitant. Zelensky, Trump said, when asked why negotiations under US mediation had yet to resolve Europe's largest land conflict since World War II. The president added that Putin is ready to make a deal, whereas Ukraine is less ready to make a deal. Trump's assertion contrasts sharply with the narrative advanced by European allies, who have consistently portrayed Moscow as the principal driver of military escalation, and as rejecting multiple peace overtures from Trump's envoys. Hours earlier, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov reiterated Moscow's position, emphasizing that Russia is not seeking a simple ceasefire, but a broader peace agreement that addresses the conflict on its own terms.
All previous meetings with President Trump's special envoy, Mr. Witkoff, and recently joined Mr. Kushner were serious, concrete, and aimed at sorting the root causes of the Ukrainian crisis and finding ways to overcome those root causes, because otherwise we can't expect sustainable and lasting peace. Fire for 60 days or a permanent ceasefire. This would
4, 4, 7, 5, 4, 0, 2.
Halo, halo?
Cześć Włodek.
Cześć.
Włodek, ty będziesz wjeżdżał tu do nas z powrotem dzisiaj? Będziesz, nie?
Nie, ale późno.
Późno?
No.
To znaczy późno która? Druga, trzecia?
8, 9.
Przestań, kurwa! Ty o tej godzinie to już śpisz. Wysłałem ci zdjęcie.
No.
Takie kolanko mosiężne, kurde. 2 sztuki takie potrzebuję. Abyś po drodze gdzieś wracał, które byś mógł kupić. To jest, ja akurat z Toolstation z katalogu to zrobiłem. Zdjęcie.
Kurwa mać.
No.
Mówię do Mietka, podnoś miałem coś z Toolstation kupić. Nie, jedź prosto na budowę.
A Toolstation nie masz nigdzie, po drodze nie będziesz miał nigdzie, tak?
No jak zobaczę to stanę, ale ja po prostu robię 2 przeprowadzki.
Ale dobra, weź zerknij sobie ze tego, to najwyżej w sklepie mu pokażesz. Gdzieś do sklepu, kurde, nawet zajechać, do Leylanda, kurde, i to będziesz widział, co to jest, ale jak nie, to zadzwonisz, kurde, i ja ci powiem, czy to jest to, czy to. Dobra?
Dobrze, dobrze Grzesiu.
Dobrze?
Dobra.
To niekoniecznie musi być, wiesz, Toolstation, kurde, nie? No bo to byle gdzie. Wiesz, bo do stojaków potrzebujemy takiego laka, bo kurde, ja myślałem, że to inaczej podłączę, ale to znowu dziury większe musieli robić w ścianach ten, to od góry podłączenia, są te kombinacje takie troszkę.
Okej.
Wiesz? Dobra?
Dobra.
Będziesz pamiętał 2 sztuki.
Będę pamiętał, żeby się zatrzymać przy Leylandzie.
Dobra.
Dobra.
isn't serious, even though we are ready to talk to those representatives. But when they say that everything beyond temporary ceasefire is secondary, we understand what they are talking about. They want to buy some more time for the Kyiv regime once again to keep its position.
The situation on the ground in Ukraine continues to deteriorate amid Russia's intensified assault on critical infrastructure. Ukrainian President Zelensky announced plans to declare a state of emergency for the country's energy sector, highlighting the urgency of the crisis following widespread power outages in the capital.
Unfortunately, much less has been accomplished in Kiev. Very little has been done in the capital. Even in these days, I do not see the intensity. This needs to be urgently corrected. There must be solutions. A state of emergency in the energy sector will be legally introduced. This will provide more opportunities. The Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine will simplify everything related to connecting backup power equipment to the grids as much as possible. Zero bureaucracy. I instructed an increase in the import capacity of electricity. All business opportunities. There should be more support points for people in Kiev and other cities. Much much more points of resilience. I instructed a review of the curfew rules during the state of emergency.
Authorities in Kyiv are laboring around the clock to restore electricity and heating to hundreds of apartment buildings left in disarray by Russian strikes last week. Temperatures in the city have plunged to 19 degrees Celsius, exacerbating the suffering of residents still without heat, electricity, or water. According to city officials, 471 apartment buildings remained without heat on Wednesday, nearly a week after the attacks. The contrast between Washington's framing of the stalled peace talks and Moscow's insistence on negotiations that address the root causes of the conflict underscores the fragile and contested nature of diplomacy in the region. With winter biting into civilian life and the political rhetoric intensifying, the prospects for an immediate resolution appear increasingly uncertain.
W końcu mamy to. Trump otrzymał Nagrodę Nobla.
Pokojową, z tym, że wymusił. A w dzisiejszym programie Krym bez prądu, najnowsze przemówienie Putina, Zacharowa, najnowsza wypowiedź w sprawie Grenlandii, kraje Unii Europejskiej podzielone w sprawie rozmów z Putinem, mieszkańcy dalekiej północy Rosji zostaną bez żywności.
Russia TV. The main international topic is Trump's peace plan, and we've got plenty of questions to you. What about this project, this initial unofficial project? Takes into account the Russian position. Did we get amended version of these proposals when the US-Russia negotiation will start? We don't know when they start. What you think at the minute on the prospects of the peaceful settlement in Ukraine? As to the project of this agreement, we didn't have any. There wasn't any. There was a line of questions which were put forward